Hey viewers, I'm at my college helping out with their theater camp right now, so if I look a little tired or otherwise bedraggled, that's why. I'm working all day on theater stuff, singing and dancing. But I wanted to take this time that I have off from helping out with the rehearsals to make a quick video for you that I have been meaning to make for several weeks, and then someone actually requested that I cover this topic. So when I get a request from a viewer to cover a topic that I've actually been meaning to do myself for weeks, I know I'm taking too long to do it. So as the title of this video suggests, I want to talk to you about the witches in True Blood Season 4. Now, if you're the kind of person that has a problem with spoilers, first of all, these shouldn't really be spoilers because I'm only talking about one character or group of characters. And second of all, if hearing me talk about and describe something that might happen in a movie or book or play or anything like that honestly spoils the experience of seeing or hearing or reading it yourself, then the thing that you're watching or reading or seeing probably wasn't worth trying to entertain you in the first place, because me talking about it is absolutely no match for experiencing it yourself. So whenever you come across a spoiler, it really should not spoil it for you, because the movie or the play or the book or whatever should be good enough to engross you when you actually get to experience it for yourself. Hearing someone talk about it or reading it online should not spoil it for you. Spoilers mean nothing in my life, so do not feel bad about spoiling things for me. I know the ends of plenty of things that I haven't read or seen yet. But again, if you are concerned, these shouldn't really be spoilers unless you really care about things that have happened with the witches since the beginning of the season. Right now, it's Thursday, July 28th, so we have had 5 episodes of Season 4, True Blood. Essentially, what I'm going to be talking about is how True Blood Season 4 is portraying witches, and rather Wiccans, because the characters call themselves Wiccans, and whether or not this is an accurate portrayal. And a lot of people have been complaining that they think that the show is not doing Wiccans justice, and others think it's okay. So in relation to that, I want to talk about what we know so far about the witches, or more specifically the character Marnie, also known as Aunt Petunia, also known as Fiona Shaw. So what we know so far about Marnie is that, 1, she is a medium, and mediums communicate with the dead, or with spirits. Mediumship may have something to do with magic, depending on how you look at it, but this is not something generally directly associated with Wicca. So the fact that Marnie is a medium really has nothing to do with the portrayal of Wicca or witchcraft. 2, we know that Marnie is a necromancer. This also has something to do with magic, but magic, as we know, is not only for Wiccans. Wiccans are not the only ones that use magic. So the fact that Marnie is a necromancer also really has nothing to do with the Wiccan community directly. Of course, there are Wiccan necromancers, probably, but the two don't always go hand in hand. So the fact that she is a necromancer, wants to raise the dead, things like that, I don't think that has anything to do with a portrayal of Wicca. This is not to say that making Marnie a medium and a necromancer are thus bad portrayals of Wicca, because they're passing this off as Wiccan and it's not. I think it's just up to the audience to understand that a person's religious affiliation, such as being Wiccan, does not mean that they can't participate in other things such as mediumship and necromancy. I think we should trust the show enough that we don't have to say, like, oh, they're trying to pass these things off as Wiccan and that's not what we do. Most people who really care to know about it will know that those things don't have to do directly with Wicca, and it's just kind of a coincidence that she's interested in all 3. The next thing we know about Marnie is that she has been possessed by a spirit of some sort, the spirit of a witch, who obviously had a problem with vampires, and thus Marnie is kind of pulling a Nancy from the craft here, and she's getting a little power hungry, and she's going a little crazy because of it. She's obviously not as insane yet so far in the series as Nancy is by the end of the craft, but I would call it a similar situation. Marnie doesn't know what she's been doing to the vampires because she's possessed every time it happens, and it's someone else's spirit speaking through her. So I really don't think that she knows what she's doing or means to be doing it. She's okay with it because obviously she thinks vampires are evil too, but I really don't think she knows or thinks that what she's doing is wrong. So I don't see her as a malevolent character at this point, because this is really what she thinks is right. She has no idea who the vampires are. You know, she doesn't have feelings for them like we do watching the series. So I really don't blame Marnie at this point, because if I were possessed by a spirit of some sort that could make me do things things that I thought were cool, I think I'd probably become a little crazy too. But again, I don't think that being possessed by a spirit should necessarily make us think that they're portraying Wicca badly, because most people should understand that that has nothing to do with the religion that this character also happens to practice. The last thing that we know about Marnie that I think does have something to do with the Wiccan community is that during one of these power-hungry, crazed, trying to be possessed by the spirit again moments, Marnie decided to use a blood sacrifice, and she used her athame, her ritual dagger, to slit her wrists to get the blood to put into the chalice as the sacrifice for this spirit. And I know a lot of us cringed at that. Me, number one, because I don't like sharp things, and cutting yourself purposely at all is really not a comfortable thing for me. And also, a lot of us were taken aback at the fact that she used her ritual dagger to cut flesh, or to cut anything, because most of us believe that an athame should never cut anything physical. I have learned recently that there are some other witches, not necessarily Wiccans, but other witches who do use their ritual dagger for mundane purposes, such as in kitchen witchcraft. But the way it was explained to me by a person who wrote a blog about it was that they use their ritual dagger to cut mundane things, and I thought that was weird. But when I looked up kitchen witchcraft, it seems to me through the Wikipedia article and the explanation that it and a couple other general kitchen witchcraft websites gave me was that it's not that like your fancy ritual dagger athame is used to cut mundane things, but rather you use a regular everyday kitchen knife as a ritual dagger, which to me does mean a lot of difference. I don't personally know what the distinction is, because I don't even use an athame in my practice, because as I said, I don't really like sharp things. But if Marnie is meant to be one of those Wiccans that thinks that an athame should never cut, it is a little bit strange that she would use her ritual dagger to make a blood sacrifice. So that, I think, is the only thing that Marnie has done so far that we can actually say is an inaccurate or non-beneficial portrayal of Wicca as we know it. Again, I think within the context of the story and that episode, she was trying to make an offering to a spirit, and she thought that the most appropriate would be something of herself. So I think they justify it within the plot line, but I do understand why Wiccans would be upset about that portrayal, and it kind of freaked me out too. But we have to realize that there are also some other witches that might not agree with that. They might still use blood sacrifice in that sense, like pricking your own finger and dropping a bit of your blood. That's your own free will. One drop of blood from your finger isn't a big deal. Making a sacrifice of someone else is a lot bigger of a deal. I personally don't use blood at all, but I also know that some others do. I guess Wiccans generally do not, and so I guess that would be where the discrepancy lies. Other than that, I don't really think we have seen anything so far this season that is really super terrible, and I think you guys need to calm down, because I've seen a lot of posts from people who are just absolutely livid at Alan Ball's portrayal of witches or Wiccans in this series so far, in this season, and a lot of people are just angry at a lot of what he's doing, and I think y'all need to calm down. You know, later on in the season, maybe there will be something really super crazy that I absolutely do not want associated with Wiccans, but thus far, that's my feeling on what we have seen Marnie do so far, and I think we should try and give people a little bit more credit. And I know that there are going to be people who don't know anything about our religion, don't know anything about witchcraft and the difference from Wicca that it is, and they're going to look at that and say, oh my gosh, all Wiccans raise the dead, and all Wiccans think they can talk to spirits, and all Wiccans blah 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 blah. And we should be able to calm down and sit back and know that that's because they don't know it. And then you get on the internet and you make your polite blog post or your little YouTube video like this. Try and be polite about it and just tell them what it's really like and tell them how it is from your experience being part of this community. This is a teaching opportunity for us. This is an educational opportunity to use season 4 of True Blood to say, hey, remember when this happened on this show? This is true. Or, hey, remember this? This isn't true. It's the media. And I think people who are really interested in it, we should be able to trust them to know that there is a difference between Wiccan and everything else. But please, for all of our sakes, when you make these blog posts or when you make these videos, don't come at it from an angry standpoint, because, excuse me, but bitching at people is no way to get them to look at us in a good light. Calling people ignorant or calling people stupid or calling people whatever kind of name you can think of is not going to make them want to listen to us and really find out what it's about. It's just going to make them think we're bitches. I hate to say that, but it's true. And like, at the same time, people don't want to portray Wicca as being all light and happy and rainbows and puppies, but that doesn't mean that you personally can't be a nice person either. Believing in the balance doesn't mean that you have to be a dick. So next time you see someone making false assumptions based on this show, just take a deep breath, laugh to yourself at how ridiculous it is, and then politely tell them what's really going on. And that's pretty much all we can do. But yeah, I really don't think that Alan Ball's doing such a terrible job. That being said, I am looking forward to the next episode, and I think you all know why. I will talk to you guys next time. Thanks for watching. See you later. Blessed be, and all that good stuff. Peace.